they promoted me but increased my salary from 50,000 to 52,500. Like what?
I was fairly dismissed from my job. What does the labor law say about unfair?
If your employer dismisses you without following these steps or without just cause, they are considered to have treated you unfairly. That's it.
I was let go because the company was downsizing.
If an employee is laid off because of business restructuring, they should receive a package. I know of organizations that practice this. So whilst that is not the demands of the Labour Act,
what does the law say about this? Welcome to the Expat Explorer, the second best global employment podcast.
That's right.
Yeah, where we discuss everything employment, the facts, the myth, and everything in between. My name is Aisha.
And I'm Mide.
On today's episode, I'm going to be asking Mide questions from our community. Mide, I have 3 very juicy questions for you. Are you ready?
Bring it on.
Okay.
Bring it on.
And also, we're still open to more questions. So drop your questions down below. Let's know. Let's answer you. Let's communicate. Let's interact and let's just.
Yes.
And if you've not watched all our previous episodes, my God, I don't know what to tell you. You're missing a whole lot. So go back and watch the videos. Drop your comments on all the videos. Ask us any questions that you'd like to know about this podcast or everything in general or about the topic. So, Mide, are you ready?
Everything employment, from the facts, the myth, what is bothering you, just drop your comments.
Even if it's to gist us.
Yes. We're looking forward to hearing from you and then taking it on to a conversation.
Yeah. So, Mide, are you ready for the questions?
Bring it on.
Okay. So, the first question I have this is from a community member in Ghana. So the question is, I was fairly dismissed from my job in Ghana without any formal warning or due process. What does the labor law say about unfair dismissal?
First and foremost, my sincere apologies to you if you feel that you were unfairly treated. It's such a painful experience, especially when a company shuts the door at you without giving you the opportunity to air your opinion. Because again, there is a Labour Act that guides the employment relationship in every country.
Of course.
And for the Ghanaian setting, what guides the labor engagement, right, is the Labour Act of 2003.
Okay.
And according to Section 63 of the Act, dismissals must be fair and reasonable. And although that might be a bit subjective, because what does fair and reasonable really mean? But I would say that in that context, it means that your employer should have followed due process, right? Your employer should have followed due process by, first of all, including giving you a chance to be heard. That is, if there was a disciplinary committee, they should have summoned you, writing to you that this is the reason why you've been summoned, and then allowed you to speak to the situation. After speaking to the situation, they can now make a decision on what they want to do, what the business desires to do, based off the conversations they've had with you. If your employer dismisses you without following these steps or without just cause, then they've been considered to be they are considered to have treated you unfairly. That is, it is an unfair dismissal. For instance, if your employer did not give you a written notice or a proper hearing, it simply means that they violated the law.
Oh wow.
Yes, if they don't give you the right notice and they do not give you the chance to be heard, they violated the law. And you have the right to seek a redress from the Labour Commission or pursue a legal action in a court of law for compensation or reinstatement of your employment. Yes, so that's a bit broad, right? But if you feel that you were not given that chance to be heard before a decision was made, they just sent you communication that you've been dismissed, then you can always go ahead to seek a redress for the situation and get a proper compensation for being terminated unfairly or dismissed unfairly. So it's a tough call, it's a tough experience. However, we just want to let you know that there are due processes that organizations need to follow before having to dismiss you from employment.
Yeah, I think you've done justice to that question. I mean, you even quoted the Ghanaian labor law, so the labor act. So I'm sure you find something. The committee member will find something to do about this from the response. So yeah, I'll go to the next question. So
Absolutely.
This one is about the person says, I was let go because the company was downsizing and I don't know if I'm entitled to any benefits or severance pay. What does the law say about this?
Well, I
think this person is a Nigerian, yes, so we can talk about it from the Nigerian aspect.
Well, sorry about your experience, and of course downsizing is something that you really cannot control, because of course if an organization is not thriving, if they are not generating revenue, they begin to seek for resolutions on how to cut costs.
Yes.
And unfortunately, most times when people start thinking of cutting costs, the first thing they think about is downsizing, reducing their workforce. Exactly.
I agree.
So whilst this is a very burning concern for you, I believe that every laborer is entitled to their pay.
Yes.
Right. In Nigeria, according to the Labour Act Section 20, if an employee is laid off because of downsizing or business restructuring, they should receive a severance package. That is, they are supposed to receive a severance package, especially if their contract is not terminated because of any fault of theirs. That is, if I know of organizations that practice this, right? Once the organization sees that they are unable to continue paying your salary or paying the salaries of a sizable number of persons within the workforce, they then do like a compensation package or a severance package, whereby they compensate the people for a period of time. Some do 6 months, they pay them for about 6 months before laying them off, just so that they can settle into their new reality before getting a new place of employment. So whilst that is not the demands of the Labour Act, right, it is also, some companies are very benevolent and they would want you to be able to ease off that particular situation. It is still required by the Labour Act that once a company is in that situation, they need to give you at least a severance package, so that you feel properly treated before terminating your employment. In Ghana, right, on the flip side, if you are being laid off due to business restructuring, you are also entitled to a severance package, and the employer is obligated to inform you in advance about the redundancy. That is, they will have to inform you prior to them communicating that everyone will be laid off. So it's unfortunate that this happened to you.
It's very sad.
My co-host here says that you're in Nigeria, but the question does not really specify where you're from, so we just had to address it both ways, right? But we hope that you're going to find closure and get a better place of employment, or another place of employment, because we really don't know.
And you can send us your CV, let's look at it for you. I mean, we can do that.
Always, yes, we can always do that.
Yes. So the last, but definitely not least, we're still expecting more questions. Remember. So the last question I have here is someone says they left their job after leaving their job in Nigeria. They didn't receive their final paycheck and for overtime and unused leave. So, and they're asking if the company is allowed to withhold that money from them without giving them.
So it is quite frustrating to leave an employment and your final entitlements are not being paid. They are owing you your last pay, and they are owing you your leave allowance, and all of it. Right? According to the Nigerian Labour Act, an employer is legally required to settle all dues owed to the employee at the point, including outstanding wages, right? Overtime, unused leave days, upon the termination of the employment. So you are entitled to your severance, to your
wages, paycheck and
your wages, your final entitlements, your leave allowances at the point of exiting a contract or at the point of exiting an employment. If you are not then getting it, right? If the company refuses to pay you, that means that company is in breach of contract.
Good. And
you have every right to actually file a complaint against that company. Employees are entitled to their final settlement once they leave an organization, and so if they've withheld any part of your pay, it is illegal. It is not right.
Nice.
But the best way to go about it is not by going violent at the first instance. The best way to approach it, from my perspective, right, is that you write to the organization and request for your entitlement. If after requesting for your entitlement you don't get any response, then you can as well just follow what has been provided by the Labour Act, right? I would like you to actually reference section 16 of the Nigerian Labour Act to take the due process on how to retrieve or recover your money. You can as well also consult a lawyer, right, that can also help you to retrieve such amount of money legally without having to
bomb breed. Well, you can bomb breed is not. That reminds me, yes, as we were talking about it, I remember one place that my first employment after my NYC in Abuja, those people, my 2-month salary is
they're still owing you.
Yes.
Aisha, I'm surprised you are saying this.
Yes,
because you want to go for it.
Yes. I still, the day I'll call for them is don't worry.
My story minus 1 minute to today. Yeah. So, but I believe even the good books, right? The Bible makes us understand that every laborer is worthy of his or her wages. So it is important that when you employ people and you know that you cannot pay them, right, try to find ways to manage the situation and find ways to get those wages paid that are due to them paid, right?
Yes, I agree with you.
And I also believe that communication is everything. If you know that you are struggling with certain things about an employee, just help them. The conditions of employment are, I don't think anybody wants to wake up in the morning and really go to work, right? Most people go to work because they want to survive. Yes, they want to earn a living. And in quotes, I'm not saying that is what is reflective of my own idea about work, but I'm just saying that most people, when you really search deeply, right, as to why they go to work, it is mostly because they want to survive and not necessarily because they want to wake up to work. So if you now deprive them of what they've struggled to earn, I don't think it is a fair treatment on their side. Drum rolls.
So now we're going to be reacting to some memes that we found, some questions that we found on X. So they are very interesting and they are very funny. So we're just going to be reading through them and be reading the responses, the funny responses.
Yeah.
So do you want to go with the first one, Lily?
Yes, I would love to. So at what point did you tell yourself, F it, I'm done with this job? What bad experiences did you have? And this person responded to say, when they promoted me but increased my salary from 50,000 to 52,500, like what?
2,500 increment.
Yes.
Is it forever? No. Some employers have audacity. Because how do you say you promoted someone and you put 2.5
promotion? Kilo day.
I agree. Yes, I am. You are justified.
You did the right thing. You did
what do you want? 2.5. I don't even know what to say.
And I hope you took it up with the HR or with the person that was responsible for that promotion letter.
That ridiculousness.
Exactly.
Can you imagine?
I hope you took it up with that person because you ought to have discussed it. You don't just come on X and speak about it without doing the right thing.
Yeah, I agree. So next, another one I found is, do you prefer being loved loudly or silently? This person said, I prefer a remote job that pays in USD. All these love Father, who cares? Give me the dollars.
So owo ni koko. Well, we are so much in alignment with you. Give us the dough.
Yeah.
Right. That would show whether we love it loudly or
silently. I know this. The loudness of the USD is what I want.
Is what I want. But let it be banging in my ears.
Yeah.
So the next question or the next tweet is, how did you know you weren't going to get the job during your job interview? Share your story.
Mm-hmm.
And the response was, they asked why I chose the firm. I said it's close to gosh. It's close to your house.
Even if it's close to your house, you say.
Oh my gosh, some candidates are just ridiculous. Even me, I will not give you the job.
I can never. Even if it's close to your house, you say it. Can't you say another thing? Mr. God.
You could have just said you love the brand or something else.
Don't do that. If you are watching this, learn from this. Don't be like this person.
Yeah, the typical example of my village people after my honestly.
So this one is a meme. There is no response to it. So this one says, some days the best thing about my job is that my chest pains.
This one will apply to you, Aisha, because
yes,
you like to swim.
Juicy as charged. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
Some days the work is just too hectic. They just okay. At least I can spin. You can enjoy life and
so
spin.
bad. There are some organizations that you don't have spinning chairs. You don't have swivel chairs. So you are just like that, typing and just
standing out. It's wrong. No. They need to buy swivel chairs.
I like you. Do what makes you happy.
Yes.
Do you? Alright. That's all.
No, I think we still have one last one. So this one, I know that we need. Okay. You need to put it up.
It says HR watching you dropping your CV without connections in the company. Oh gosh. My goodness. I think it's for really
like lying to yourself.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it's not every organization anyway that does that.
True.
There are some people that send CVs. For me, for instance, if you send me your CV, I always would look at it and see if there are opportunities that you'll be suitable for. If I know anyone that matches your experience or your skills or competence, your profile generally, right, I would always push your CV forward, right? So I don't believe that this CV reflects all of the HR approach to
it's just the common Nigerian thing.
Yeah, but we just have to talk about this meme, because it looked funny and his reaction here was very funny.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Wow, that was very nice. I enjoyed the game session. I think we are going to keep this up every week. We need to be doing this.
Something exciting.
What do you guys tell us? Do you want us to continue? If you want us to continue, send us memes. If you see any kind of memes, send it to our DMs or send it or send it to our email or just send it to us anyhow. Just share the link with us so that we can react to it.
We'll react to it.
Yes. I mean, expert reaction. Let's give you the expert reaction. So yeah, we've come to the end of today's episode, and it was really nice. I really enjoyed myself. I like these game sections. You made me relax.
Yes,
same.
Yes, because ever since we've been talking about exit management, and it just felt like a PTSD situation.
Yeah.
Because I don't like exit. Aisha, I think the next thing we need to talk about is how we both react to exit.
Yes.
Yeah. We know you enjoyed every part of this episode. Every part. My highlight is on every part.
Yes.
And because of this, we'd like you to follow, like, share, subscribe on all of our social media platforms. _Expat Explorer.
Yes.
From one explorer to the other.
Be bold.
Be global.
Be you. Bye.